So I'll talk for a little bit about Julia packaging, because I was talking to one of Ed's grad students, Lamia. She's great. I think she has a usual meeting at this time, so she can't come. But basically, the idea is, what are we doing here? So I just opened a blank VS Code. There's nothing in here. I'm going to make a new folder. This is my process every time. I find documents, then Julia, and I'll just call this, give it a name. I'm going to end up overwriting this, so it's fine. So all I did was opened a folder.
At the top level of the Julia directory.
Oh, it's just in my documents.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a folder in my documents. Oops, what is this? That's not right.
It's not your actual Julia directory. Okay.
No.
I was like,
It's
that's
in
a weird
documents.
Yeah.
So it's in my documents. I have one called Julia. I also have one called Python that has all my Python stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's in my documents. You can put it wherever you want. So I started Julia, entered the package manager, activate dot, and then I'll just add something like data frames. So I'm just going to do a really simple example. Sorry, Eli, go for it.
So you're already in the directory that you just created, because that's where that's what you
opened that in VS Code.
Right. And activate dot means set a new environment in that directory.
In that directory.
That you already are.
And you can see that it did it right here. So it's setting new project there.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay.
And when I typed add data frames, that made a project and a manifest. You don't have to care about the manifest, the project. All it says is it has data frames in there.
And if we look back at your actual folder,
that's this right here
in Windows.
Yep.
Don't you also have a hidden file that's like the?
It would show up there. Not yet. Like a .vs code.
Or Git. No, you don't have a GitHub because no.
Simple test. Yep. All that's in there is project and manifest. I haven't hooked this up to Git. I haven't done anything yet.
Okay, so this has the project and manifold because you've now added a package from the
general environment.
And you've got a new environment as soon as you start an environment.
And now I'll just make a file called main.jl. I'd be using data frames. Nothing here is so interesting yet. Oh, and then what happens? Oh, so over here, I have two terminals. This is the one where I created the environment. I no longer need this one. It started this terminal, and this one is connected to the environment I just made. So the terminal that I just created, remove this one. It's going to take a second because Julia has startup time. There it is. And now this terminal is connected to this, to my editor. Still says it's starting.
Do you know how to make like different scripts select different terminals?
I don't, and I don't really use Julia like that.
Okay.
Like usually if I'm doing something, it's all kind of one big mishmash of crap.
Yeah, me too. And sometimes I'm like, I want to run this in a different terminal. And or I don't, one or the other, and it sort of does its own thing. And I've got sort of, anyway.
Okay, so it finally started. So I could do something like df equals data frame. And I'll just do temp equals 1, value equals 5. Sure, AI, that looks great. Oh, and this needs to be in a list. So if you've never seen this way of instantiating a data frame, it's just a vector of named tuples. So this is a tuple because it has parentheses, name equals value.
Mm-hmm.
And if I just highlight this one line and hit Control Enter, it says the same thing. It's a named tuple. They're very useful.
Yeah, and it's automatically figured out the type from the values.
Yep, in 64. And I think if I did 0.0, it'll give me a float. Yep, now it's float 64. So this is fine. I could write all of my code here. I could write a function that does something. Sure, I'll let AI fill that in. Right? So this isn't a good function. I've just done essentially nothing. But if I use it, it just looks like it added 1 to all of the entries in temp. And I think it also changed df. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There's a bad function. It changes the original thing. Maybe this should have an exclamation. So this little exclamation I just put there is Julia. What's the word for it? It's not even syntax. It's not even. It's convention.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a convention. It just means that this function is going to update this. So notice how df. If I look at df, it's 1, 2. I do this and then this, and now I look at df. It changed. It's just telling me that it did that. Okay. You could do everything in main. You could define all of your functions, all of everything. But then it gets a little bit cloudy. So what I could also do, I could make a new file like that, like I did with main, or I could open the command palette. I hit Control-Shift-P, and you might have to search Julia or something, new Julia file. Just makes a Julia file. I can save this as functions.jl. And all I'm going to do is take this, put it over here, save it, and then type, is it include?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Because now I'm going to restart Julia real quick. I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to hold down Alt. You're going to see something flash right here. I also realize that I'm way too zoomed out. I always forget, I'm sorry. You're going to see something flash down here. Hold Alt, press J, press R. So I held down Alt, something flashed there, started a macro, R restarts the Julia terminal. Now I get to wait. Okay, cool. This should go quick. So now by putting functions over there, it's like a GAMS include, right? It just takes this and essentially puts it there. So it runs that function. Then I can define my data frame and use it. Cool. So that is one method of organizing your code. And you can make like directories and stuff. Like I could have put this in a methods. So I just made a directory called methods, moved functions in there, and then you just have to point at it, right? It's a local include path.
Okay.
Okay. This is all fine. This works great. You could share your code, everything would work. Totally fine. And there's another way to do it. So I'm going to start a new terminal. I'm going to go up a directory. So I'm just in the directory I want my project to live in. That happens to be my documents Julia directory. That's totally cool. I'm going to start Julia. Hey, that was quick. Awesome. Enter the package manager. Is that right? And I think I type generate test package. It did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There are better ways to do this. There's package templates that will do much more than the basic thing that this just did. But this is just a really basic way to make a package. And here's what I'm going to do. I exited Julia with Control D. Let's see here. If I do cd test package, it just created it. It said it just created it. if I look inside of it, it has the file that it says it created, project.2ml in source. And now I'm going to type code dot. That just starts a VS Code with that package opened. Cool. Give it a second. Give it a second. Got to restart everything. So I'll show, okay, I'll skip it. Notice it has a project.2ml. So our old project.2ml, there we go, I zoomed in a little bit. Our old project.2ml, in fact, I can look at it. It's right here. All it had in it was depths data frames. This one has a little more. It doesn't have data frames yet. I haven't added it, but it has this meta information. Name of my package, a unique identifier. Every package has that. In fact, there's the one for data frames. This is what Julia uses to find the data frames package.
Yes.
So it needs that. And then it has this source, test.
And it's got a module. Something.
And module, yeah, it has this module.
Oh, and it gave you an automatic hello world.
Yep, that's what it always does.
That's very cute.
And all I'm going to do is hit Alt-J and then R. That's just going to open my Julia terminal. This already has an environment. Oops, this is wrong. See how that says 1.12? I don't want that. I want test package. Then I got to restart again. Hold on. There it goes. Oh, yeah, I just want to make sure my active environment is the one that I'm actually using. So I'll show you the difference. I don't want that in source. I want it down here. I'm just going to make another main file. Sorry, Eli, go for it.
I was going to say you should interrupt for anything that seems interesting, because I've done the edges of all of this stuff. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, just feel free to. So I had this rule with my students. Is there such a thing as a stupid question?
Yes.
Yeah, of course there is. The one you don't ask.
Okay, there's a little twist.
Yeah. If you're asking questions, that means you're engaged. And that's what I want.
I was feeling like you're going quite fast, and it's like a lot of interesting stuff. For me, it's stuff I'm mostly familiar with. So like I'm following it, I think, reasonably well, but I'm not. I imagine anyone else who hasn't already been like working with Julia packages and generating and all that is maybe missing a lot. Something.
I'll say this. For the two that are here, just yell at me to stop. If you're watching it later, you can always leave a comment, because this will be on YouTube, or you can send me an email. I'll reply. I'm not doing anything else. Okay. I started Julia. This is a brand new Julia session. If I enter the package manager, notice it says test package. I check for that every single time. If it says 1.12 or whatever version, then I'm not in my environment and I got to change it. If I hit ST, that's shorthand for status. Just shows me the installed packages. There are none. Go ahead and add data frames. And I'll show you the difference in the project.2ml, because it's going to add more. And it takes a second. I use data frames a lot, so it doesn't need to compile anything. Like it says pre-compiling, and it just takes no time at all. So here's how the project.2ml. Sorry, Eli, go for it.
No, I was just adding, because pulling from you already have data frames elsewhere on the computer, and it's finding that because it's within the Julia system of files.
Yeah, that's essentially what the manifest is doing. If you really, really want to know, it stores the version as well, so it can pull that. If I look at the project.2ml, things have updated. I get my depths again. And then I also get this. I get a compat entry. This is new with 1.12. I don't think 1.11 puts this in by default. You have to do it manually.
Interesting.
But That pins it to version 1.8.1. I could change that to be something else. I'm not going to. And the way that it'll work, sorry, go for it.
No, I was going to ask, so all the dependencies of data frames, right? So data frames has all these other packages that it's building from. Are the versions of, yeah, that list, or we have the list here, right, in the status as you, because you added it, should be the same, right? But they all have versions. Is that pinned, is 1.8.1 of data frames pinned to Crayon's 4.1.1?
It's probably included in a dependency of data frames.
It's included within the range of what is allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever pooled arrays, right? This probably is a dependency from something with data frames, and somewhere it specifies version 1.4.3.
Yeah, or up to, or at least that, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And Eli raises a good point. This is the exact reason you should use environments, because data frames uses that, right? Let's say I use some Mitch package and that was 1.5 or 1.4. And then suddenly the Mitch package updates to 1.5. But the Mitch package requires, I've lost the manifest, requires some different version of this. There's going to be a conflict.
Yeah.
And then
so is this where it sort of becomes better than what's in R, where you always have issues with package versions and backward?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Python solves this with virtual environments, if you know virtual environments. But I don't think R has any package management anything.
I think you have to kind of build it yourself. I think I've seen other people try and fix their R environment so that you can, so that you know which packages you need when you want to run a particular version of a model, and you doesn't have to. Yeah, the backward compatibility issue is always an issue.
At that point, they're probably just putting it in Docker. It's just kind of the worst. I don't want to save this because I don't want to do anything to that. Okay, cool. So let's talk about some of the differences. Let's port this code, where's my functions, over to here. So what I can do, I come from Python. I think the preferred style is to just have this all over. To do that, by the way, I'm hitting Control and like bracket. Left bracket, right bracket to go over, left bracket to go back. You can also hit Tab and Shift Tab. But Tab auto completes my AI, so I don't use Tab as much anymore because I don't want it to fill in this stupid AI. I come from Python, so I just add a lot of white space.
Okay.
Inside this module, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a function called create data. I want it to be the same one as last time. Okay. AI suggested something and I just rejected it. Sure, you can make the 2.0 be a float if you care that much. I don't care. Don't get that one though. Okay. So all I did was made this. So what that means is over here, I'm going to type using test package. And I'll run that hopefully. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to compile. And we got to wait. Because, you know, it's got to make sure that things run fine. And then it's going to immediately break. I'm going to go like this. And it's finished. All right. If there are errors and stuff, like if I have a typo in here, it'll tell me. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to type create data, call that df, and it doesn't work. And it doesn't work. And it doesn't work. There we go. It took a second.
Yeah, it doesn't want to slower than if it
not just fine to me.
Here's what I can do to make it work. Because this is wrapped in a module, think of a module as a little encapsulation. All I have to do is put the package name dot the function, and now it works. So it didn't give me a big red error, and it gives me the data frame I expect. Same thing with process data frame. Of course, it's really annoying to type this every time. So I can use the export keyword. I'll let AI fill that in. Okay. I've talked about revise before. So I'm not going to run this. I'm just going to save it. And I think now that I could be wrong here. AI, stop doing that. Yeah. Because I have revise running, I didn't have to like run this or anything. I just had to save it. And now create data works without test package. Same with process data frame.
Because it's got, now the module has the functions listed under export.
Yeah. So it's saying these things are going to be available outside of the module.
With their name, yeah, with their names by themselves without. So within the test package, you can have functions that you don't export. And we do that all the time, and that you can still call them by using the package name. But if you want them to be available just with the names by themselves, you just put them in an export statement.
It'll be available within that environment that you created.
It'll be available within the module. Like I could do.
Package, if you have that package active.
Yeah, it'll be available within the package, but nowhere else. And then I could do other fancy stuff like inside of this source directory, make a new file, call it, I guess I'll call it functions. Not a great name, but I don't care that much. This module, as you can probably imagine, can get quite large. Like you could put everything you want in here, just like the main file from before. But it's going to be much cleaner if I sort of segregate by usage, right? And then I just include functions.jl. And nothing changes because it's the same exact code. Yeah, this is how all, I don't know, white space. This is how all packages are essentially structured in Julia. And
do you want to generate one internal function?
Yeah.
Just leave it internal?
Because what I was thinking about doing, what do I could call it CWA. I could call it
internal
helper, sure. And then I could do
interesting.
Let's see if this works. Hey, now it's 4 and 6 because it multiplied by 2. I could also do it this way. Transform is going to equal internal helper. Because now, unless I run afoul of something, now what I could do is I could do oh my goodness, there we go, equals. So now instead of multiplying by 2, it adds 10. Okay, I'm going to stop for a second and talk about what the heck I just did there. So what I did, I think I can give this a type. Actually, no. Yep. Okay. So what I did there is I took this function process data frame and I added a keyword argument called transform. And that transform is the function that I'm going to use to transform my data frame. Right? And because that's a function, I can pass any function I want into it as long as it's taking in a single argument and returning just a number. So it's to take in a number and return a number. In fact, I think I could specify that here.
Yeah, you could maybe show if you try to pass 2 arguments.
The syntax? I think that's the syntax. I never use the return syntax, but I'll do that for now. And I could probably specify that here too. But as long as my function takes a single argument and returns a single argument, so it takes a number, returns a number, that's all that's necessary. And I can pop it right there and it'll just do it. Which is cool.
Well, and you've got the default. So if you do not supply your own function, by default, it will use the one that you've already built and set as default with it equals.
Which is the ×2, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that has nothing to do with Julia packaging or anything. That's just kind of it's functional programming.
Function. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to do that in R really easily. R is a functional language. You can do that in Python just fine. I think you do it in C with like a null pointer or something. I don't know. Don't do it in C. It's just kind of a nightmare. All right. But that's pretty much it. From here, you could add tests. From here, you could add, let's see, I had notes somewhere, and now they're gone. But I put them in here. Best practices. Yeah, you don't actually have to export anything.
Mm-hmm.
So let me show you an example. Here's MPSGE. So every Julia package is the same. I click source, and then name of the package, name of the package. So you can see everything that we're exporting. You can see all the functions we're using, or all the helper functions we're using, all of our dependencies,
Those are
everything
all those
we export.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go for it.
No, I was just going to say, so the exports are function names. The includes are script names.
Yep. Or
so
paths.
those are file names. Or paths to files.
Yep. Yeah. GitHub. Jump. I use jump a lot. It's called jump. I go to source. And then I go to jump. And this is everything that jump is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot bigger. It's a lot. They do a lot of really fancy stuff. Like they put functions in here because they're useful. But it's a lot. And they include. I've gone through jump with a fine-tooth comb. I understand most of how it works, which is kind of wild. Because I stole a lot for MPSGE.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they have an example. Oh, hold on. Oh, I think I can do. Thought I was going to sneeze, and then it receded.
Glad that YouTube is recording now.
Oh man. That's the worst. I have a mute button on my microphone. I'll show you one more thing. So I can talk about this in the future as well. But the other really nice thing about the package environment, and if you use something called Julia package templates, so just Google Julia. Come on, open it up. This will generate a lot more stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this will generate, it'll put it on Git and it'll do a bunch of stuff. I just
it drops in GitHub Actions already.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a Luddite in that regard. Testing. It'll also set up testing for you, but it's really not hard. Essentially, I have a folder called test and a file called run tests. And it just says at package tests, run package tests. And where's an example of a good one? With national model. So I set up a test item. So at test item, gave it a name. If I have to import stuff, that's fine. And it's essentially Julia code until we get down to here. This little @test macro, it's just telling me it's going to raise an error if these two things are not the same or close enough.
Yeah, so
Little squiggly
basically
doodles.
on the left-hand side, after the macro, it says, what is the result with that index variable? What's the number? And it should equal to the test, to the tolerance. The number, which here is what you expect to get. So that's a unit test to say, like, we ran a model, we ran a simulation, we get results. Do we get the correct result? Does it match the correct result? And every one of those lines is testing a single. Well, in the first two lines, it's testing the same one for some reason, but in general,
Never noticed that.
in general,
I was about to ask you.
I don't know who did that, probably me. But testing, like, does the value we get actually from the model result equal the value that we expect? And so the value we expect is coming out of this other indexed, I don't know what that is, array, data frame.
Whatever it is. I think it's a named array or something.
Named array, right? Yeah.
Dense access array. There's a lot of it, though. It's on my agenda to rewrite this, so it's not as long. But that is a low down agenda because it works and I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, it works. That's right. And then so what happens there is, like, say, I don't know where you do it outside of VS Code, but like in GitHub as well, it will automatically run because the test package does that. Why don't you go to VS Code and run the test?
Hold on, I'll show you. Steve, do you know anything about GitHub Actions?
I mean, like, is that a specific?
A little.
Yeah.
You're aware that they exist.
Yeah.
So there's this folder called .github,
Mm-hmm.
and then workflows, and I think it's just in CI. This one, it says jobs.
Yeah.
This is going to run all of the tests. And you think to yourself, holy crap, how did you write this? I didn't. It's, if I go to like Julia test, what's it called? What's David's package called?
Yeah.
Test runner, test item run. No, that's the name of the function. Test item, is that it?
Documentation. And I bet somewhere in here, like they just give that code. Like somewhere in here, that code just sort of exists, or you just steal it from another package. It's right here.
Okay.
And I don't have any. Hold on, let me do one thing. Let me open a new one.
Oh yeah.
Let me open. Let me go to .julia. Let me go to dev, and let me open mpsge. Where is it? Okay.
It's gonna take a minute.
Yeah, I'll show off what it's doing here. Okay, there, it took a second. Testing. So, oh, Python tests. Activating extensions.
It's still, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll show this off again. Okay, so I have all my tests. You just saw these on GitHub. Probably zoom in so they're more visible to everybody except myself. And like all of them are doing something different. This one's really short. It's just testing that, making sure that this is actually assigning this correctly. Oh, hey, look at that. That's what it does. The net put, and it's doing tax assignment. Every once in a while, I name something well, because testing the taxes. So this is some internal function, taxes, and it just tells me all the taxes from the sector X that are assigned to RA. And for some reason, that should equal 1. Oh, it's the length. Oh, because it adds them up because they're no named. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now I can click on tests. It says the national model is failing. So this is what the test looks like. I just click this. Are you guys, any of you red-green colorblind?
No. Well, not.
Okay, so I am. So this one has a little dot and this one has a check. So I think this one failed and this one worked.
Yeah, and the color is affected. The dot is red. Yeah.
All I have to do is hit play.
Okay. And it
runs that single test.
Yeah.
And I bet and then
when
pass.
you open it, oh, you think it'll pass now?
Yeah.
Because we could have shown like what it looks like when they fail. That it just gets the same error red line thing that you can't see.
Damn well better pass.
Yeah, why'd it fail?
Refactor compensated demand. I want a branch. Maybe. This actually is, it's not going to finish in any reasonable amount of time. It's going to take a little bit. Because it's the first time that it's running it, testing it subsequently is a little bit faster.
A lot
faster. Unless the testing is broken again. Hold on, let me check something. Somebody's former advisor wrote this package and it keeps breaking.
It breaks on the regular. Somebody in this room, in this Zoom.
Yeah. Eli's advisor was David Antoff, and he wrote a bunch of Julius. He wrote this. I don't think it says the original author. But it's kind of wild. Yeah, but you see, it's pre-compiling. It's going to take a while.
I assume he did it with some people. All this stuff with people. But yeah, he's done a lot.
And this doesn't even get us into documentation. Should probably talk about documentation at some point. If I look at, well, this is running, I'll just talk. That's what I do. Okay. I want to look at the Julia documentation. Scroll down, click the docs. Cool. I want to click on this one. No, this one. Yes. This is a pretty cool little example. And it's something I have to work on more. But you see, I have Julia code, and then this is Julia output. And then these things are like linked and stuff, but then there's Julia code and Julia output. So what does this look like when I'm typing it in? Do I have to type this Julia code and then have it tell me what the output is? No. Check this out. So let's see here. I have to know what this is. I'm going to move it over here. So I'm looking to the left, but I'm going this way. Okay, I'm going to look at make.jl in docs. You can see it here, docs make.jl. And this is where my pages are defined. And I think what I want is I want this one right here. I want Robinson Crusoe, basic, and it is tutorials. Okay, basic rc.md. There is no basic rc.md.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So Eli's concerned. Oh. Basic, what it actually is basic rc.jl. So let me bring this up. Oh, hey, and it's running. All right. Okay, let me bring this back up. Can I? No. You see this MPSGE code? Or you see this, all of this stuff right here? All of these words? That's where they are. They're just commented out.
You see.
Let me do one thing real quick here. There we go. So these words are here. They're just commented out. Do you see this code?
Yeah.
There it is. It generates the output automatically. See this fancy link? It's right there. So it's referencing the @sector macro. So when I click this, I'll middle click it so it opens a tab. It just takes me to where this is defined so I can see the doc string for the sector macro. And it's doing that automatically. Yeah, if I keep scrolling down, does this one have a graph or anything? There's equations that look terrible. Oh, because they're coming from MPSGE. That's fine then. I got to make those look better. Nope, that's a jump problem. I can't make them look better because it's jump. I hate that little asterisk. Yeah, so this is a package called Literate right there. And if you see right here, that's where I'm converting basic rc.jl into the markdown file that this is referencing. Super powerful tool because you can like combine code and documentation. And they're not all like that. I go to index.md. This is just a markdown file of the index, which is very cool. Let's see here.
Right, in this one, the actual markdown.
Yeah, this is just markdown. And it still has the... It doesn't have it at all. It can still do the @ref thing, I believe. Where is this API reference? This is just a list of every function that has documentation and MPSGE. Where is that? I think that's right here.
Is that
this was the code?
Is that the internal or external?
I think it's the ones that are, I think it's just if they have a doc string. That's how I have it set up at the moment. But this was the entire bit of code I needed to generate this page.
Wow.
It's not doing anything too fancy. Like it's just grabbing all the doc strings, really. But it will yell at you if you have doc strings that are not in your documentation.
The doc strings being for the sake of the outside
Completeness.
World, some text that you would put immediately above the function where a function's being defined, you would put some text to describe that function, and that would be surrounded by triple quotes, I think. And then Julia will recognize that as a doc string, which means documentation string, which means text that is related for documentation purposes to the function immediately following that text.
Yep, here it is. Here's the sector doc string.
So it's that whole thing with the
just sitting above macro
at the top or the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, with the triple quotes.
Yep. I know.
Around that whole set of text, and then Julia will always recognize that in all its different, like for the help function. If you do a help, it'll give you that. If you are using it for documentation, which Mitch was just talking about, it knows that is related to that function, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. You can't have a blank space. That doesn't work. Needs to be directly above. Does testing ever do anything? Okay, it's getting there. But I can show that off, by the way. If I go to functions, dot. Okay, I'll show you the standard way to do this as well. So the standard way to do it, you do the 3 quotes. So just set it up, tab over, and then copy the function like signature like that. And then type documentation. It's also in Markdown, so headers work.
There's some Julia guide on like what you should include about like how to list the arguments and that sort of best practice stuff, but whatever is helpful, right? Anything that you put in.
Based on my reading of a lot of documentation, people don't follow that at all. So I try to be very consistent within a package. Oh, but here's the benefit. I typed a question mark. All I did was type a question mark. Create data. That's not how I spell create. Thinking about it? Searching? I think it's going to find it. Oh, there it is. The documentation I just typed, right?
Nice.
Headers work. It's in Markdown. I could do lists. Item 1. Item 2.
Now you're just playing.
Item 1, item 2. I'm just demonstrating that you can put multiple, like you can put a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's great.
Interesting.
And hold on, I'll do one more. Hold on. Da-da-da-da. Let me get rid of, save this, get rid of those. There we go. For testing, but I can do, how does it work? It goes dot, dot, dot. I want to make sure this works first before I tell you what it does. It did work. See how this is a link?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can click it here. So it doesn't work in this help documentation, but this is a pretty standard link in Markdown. Do you know Markdown at all?
I don't code in Markdown, but yeah.
But like, that's a standard URL in Markdown.
Okay.
So it's name and then you give it the URL.
Yeah.
That's essentially what I've done here. This is the name. I put backticks around it because it's an owned thing. And then the @ref is just saying, make it a link to be this documentation. The Julia help documentation just fills that in for you.
Okay.
Which is very nice. So what that does this. See how it says @input? That's what it does.
Okay.
And right, and cross-linking within the documentation to where that function's been mentioned back to its actual place. Yeah.
My goodness, this is taking forever.
Yeah, sometimes like stop process and restart is the go.
Yeah. I'll let it run to make sure that it actually works. All right, but I should hit. Should I ask any more questions, Siwa, Eli?
No, for now. I'm going to review this video later just to go through the steps myself, but this is really cool.
Yeah, it's dense, I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of useful documentation. Maybe this week's blog post, I'll write that up. I'll point to some nice places to look for more information. Write a really simple like guide for it. Maybe I'll do it before Friday, so it actually gets done by Friday. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on the gravity model stuff. It worked pretty well.
You stopped sharing, but you're still recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll ask one more time. Any other questions, comments, and then I'll hit stop recording and let Eli speak his mind.
None from my side.
Stop.